Hello everybody, this is Hannah here, going live with YogiMe. We just have a few minutes, so I'll wait for people to join us, but this is going to be 45 minutes of yoga. Shouldn't require any props, just a mat. If you don't have a mat, carpet or maybe a rug would work. So we'll start here in 2 minutes. Hope everybody's doing well, considering that we're all staying at home, hopefully taking care of ourselves. The cat looks like she's wanting to join us. Hi, Tom. Thanks for joining. Got Luna here, keeping me company. Looks like we've got a couple people here. All right, well, it's about 6 o'clock, so we'll get started. In general, I'm going to try to model the poses for you guys, just so it's kind of hard for me to know if you're getting it or not, just because I can't see you. But I'm going to try my best to model, but if you can do your best kind of to just listen to the cues, instead of trying to look at the screen the whole time, I think it's better for you to kind of listen to your body that way. If you're just listening to the cues and trying out at least what you think it's supposed to be like, just kind of always listening to your body instead of watching me trying to do exactly what I do, because it's going to look different. It looks different for everybody's bodies, so we'll just do the best that we can, and if you guys give me some feedback afterwards if my cues were okay or if I was too quiet, to whatever. But we'll get started here in a child's pose. You're gonna have to move, honey. But you just bring your big toes together, your knees wide. Bring your hips back towards your heels, walk your hands forward. And then just come into a resting pose here, so you can let your forearms drop to the mat. You can let your chest sink down towards the floor. You can rest your head on the mat. Whatever's most comfortable here for you. This should be a very comfortable, relaxing pose for you. So once you've kind of settled in and found your child's pose, start to bring your awareness inward. Check in with your body, see how you feel. Notice if there's any extra tension, maybe in your shoulders or your neck, maybe in your hips. And you don't have to do anything about it, just notice. Maybe send a few breaths there. And start to bring your awareness to your breath. So notice how your lungs fill up your rib cage. How with your exhale, your belly button comes in towards your spine, emptying out your lungs. And if you haven't already, start to deepen your breath. Drawing the air down low, down to the very bottom of your lungs. And then when you're ready, you can start to walk your hands over to the right side, still keeping your chest down towards the mat. And just gently reach with both hands. See if you can reach equally with your right and your left hand. And send a breath to your left ribs. And then start to walk your hands back towards center and take a pause here. And then start to walk your hands over towards the left. Still drawing your chest down towards the mat. And see if you can reach equally with your right and left hands. And then start to walk your hands back towards center. Coming back to your child's pose. This time, make it a little more active. Bring your forearms up off the mat. And actively bring your hips back towards your heels. Draw your chest down towards the mat. And then start to walk your hands forward. Bringing your knees underneath your hips and your hips right above your knees. So your knees are about hips width apart. Walk your hands forward as far as they will go comfortably and draw your chest forward or down towards the mat. Getting a slight back bend here. You can rest your forehead on the mat. Or you can even try to rest your chin. And you can even come up on the pads of your fingers here, making it much more active, getting a little bit warm. And then start to walk your hands back underneath your shoulders so that you're coming into a tabletop position. Shoulders over wrists, hips over your knees. And then on an inhale, start to drop your belly down towards the mat. Draw your spine down. Shine your heart forward. Look forward. And then on an exhale, round your spine. Bring your spine up towards the ceiling. Create space in between your shoulder blades. And gently press the mat away. And then inhale, coming back to cow pose. Letting your belly sink down. And then exhale as you round your spine. Coming back into cat pose. Look towards your navel. And then inhale back to cow. Drop your belly down. Exhale, round your spine. Cat pose. And then start to take this at your own pace. Following your own breath, so inhaling, opening your chest, and exhaling, closing and rounding. Maybe adding some extra movements here, so maybe rocking forward and back. Maybe look side to side, look at one ankle, And then the other. Just starting to warm up the spine. And then when you're ready, come back to a neutral spine. Tuck your toes underneath. Press into the mat with all 10 fingers. And lift your knees up off the mat. And then see if you can continue to lift your hips up high. Coming into downward facing dog. You can keep a generous bend in your knees here. Think about lengthening your spine. And pushing the mat away with all 10 fingers. And maybe add some movement here. So maybe you bend one knee deeply and then bend the other knee. Or maybe you just let your hips gently rock from side to side. And then bend your right knee, set your right knee down on the mat. Turn your left foot so that it's firmly planted. Your right hand is right underneath your right shoulder. And then reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. Coming into a sort of modified side plank. Opening up your chest, letting your shoulders stack, and then reach your left hand forward over your left ear. So you're creating a long line between your left fingertips and the outside edge of your left foot. Breathe into your left ribs. And then inhale as you reach your left hand up towards the ceiling. And then exhale, bring your left hand back down to the mat and reach your left leg up. And you can stay here or start to reach your right hand forward. So lengthening your limbs here, reaching forward with your right hand, kicking back with your left foot. And then start to bend your limbs. So bring your right elbow to meet your left knee. Tap them together and then reach them out long. Then again, tap them together. Reach them out long. Bring them back together. Send them back out long. Reach and lift and lengthen. And then exhale as you set everything back down. Tuck your toes underneath and lift your hips up high, downward facing dog. And take a few breaths here. And then bend your left knee deeply. Set your left knee down on the mat. Turn your right foot so that it's firmly planted. And reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. Stacking your shoulders. Stacking your hips. And opening up the chest. And breathing. And then reach your right hand over your right ear, creating a long line between your right fingertips and the outside edge of your right foot. Make sure your right foot has a nice firm connection with the mat. And then inhale as you reach your right hand up towards the ceiling. Open up your chest and exhale, set your right hand back down on the mat. Lift your right leg up and reach your left hand forward. It's okay if you're a little wobbly. This takes a little bit of balance. But reach your limbs and lengthen your limbs. And then bring your left elbow to your right knee, tap them together, and send your limbs out long. Then again, tap them together, send them out long. And then bring that back together, tap them, and send them out long. Lengthen and lift. Inhale and exhale, set everything back down. Tuck your toes underneath, send your hips up high, downward facing dog. And take a few breaths here. Then look forward, bend your knees, take a step or a hop to the front of the mat, and then lift up halfway on an inhale. Bring the crown of your head forward, lengthen your spine. Your hands can be right underneath your knees. And then when you're ready on an exhale, fold forward. You can bend your knees. Let your head and your neck dangle. And maybe rock a little bit side to side. Notice how that small movement might change the sensation of the pose. It's a very simple pose, but it makes a big difference in how you feel once you're done with the class. And then when you're ready, inhale up halfway again, and again exhale, fold forward. Bend your knees and reach up, stand all the way up, scoop your arms up overhead, bring your palms to touch, and then exhale, bring your hands to your sides. Inhale, reach up again, and exhale as you fold all the way forward. Inhale, halfway lift, and exhale as you plant your hands down on the mat. Step your feet back into plank. And then keeping your elbows hugged in towards your torso. Bend your elbows and slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Untuck your toes and straighten your elbows, coming into cobra. So just straighten your elbows as much as your body will allow, while still keeping your thighs down on the mat. Bring your elbows in towards one another. Shine your heart forward. And breathe. And then bring your chin back down to the mat. Tuck your toes underneath. Press up to plank. And then lift your hips up high. Downward facing dog. And take 5 breaths here. Make your breath nice and deep, flowing freely. And then we'll do those 6 motions again. So when you're ready, bend your knees and look forward. Take a step or a hop to the front of the mat. and lift up halfway. Inhale. Exhale, fold forward. Bend your knees, reach up, stand all the way up. Inhale. Exhale, bring your hands to your sides. Inhale, reach up. Exhale, fold forward. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale, plant your hands, step or hop back to plank, and then slowly lower all the way down to the mat. Inhale to cobra, or you can come up to the upward facing dog. Bring the tops of your feet to the mat. And then exhale, downward facing dog. And take 5 breaths here. And then reach your right leg up towards the ceiling. Step your right foot up in between your hands and lift up to a crescent lunge. So you're on the ball of your left foot. Right knee is bent up to 90 degrees. You're reaching up, but you're pulling your shoulders away from your ears gently. Lengthen through the crown of the head. And then bring your hands to heart center. And then bring your left elbow to your right knee. So you're in a twist here. And see if you can bring your thumbs closer to your sternum. So you're twisting from your spine. And you're opening up your chest. Still staying strong in that back left leg. And breathing here. And then place your left hand on the inside of your right foot and reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. If you can't quite reach the floor, you can always bring your hand to your knee. It's just twisting and reaching, lengthening. And then bring your right hand to the outside of your right foot. Drop your left knee down. Untuck your left toes and bring your hands up to your right knee. Drawing your hips forward. Lengthening your spine, bringing the crown of your head towards the ceiling. And then grasp your hands together behind your back. And then reach your fingers down. And shine your heart forward. And then see if you can bring your right hip back towards you. And see if you can lift your right foot up off the mat. Takes a little bit of balance here, but still keep your fingers drawing down towards the floor. Still opening up your chest. And then see if you can fold forward over your right leg. Reaching your hands up as far as they will go. Still keeping your spine nice and long. And then set your right foot back down on the mat. Rebend your right knee, unclasp your hands, reach your arms up. And then bring your hands to frame your right foot, tuck your left toes underneath. Lift your left knee. And then bring your right foot back to meet your left. And then we'll bring it through a flow. So chaturanga, lower to the floor with quality. Inhale to your cobra or upward facing dog. And exhale, downward facing dog. And take 5 breaths here. And then reach your left leg up towards the ceiling. Step your left foot up in between your hands and lift up to a crescent lunge on the ball of your right foot. Bend your left knee up to 90 degrees. Reach up with your fingers and through the crown of your head while keeping your shoulders loose and away from your ears. And then bring your hands to heart center. Bring your right elbow to your left knee and twist. Seeing if you can get your thumbs close to your sternum. Keeping your right leg nice and strong. Left knee still over your left ankle. And then bring your right hand to the inside of your left foot. Reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. Stacking your shoulders. Lengthening through your left arm. And then bring your left hand to the outside of your left foot. Drop your right knee down, untuck your right toes, and bring your hands to your left knee. And draw your hips forward. Getting a nice stretch in your hips. And then keeping the bottom half of your body where it is, bring your hands behind your back, clasp your hands together, and reach your fingers down towards the mat. Open your chest, and breathe. And then see if you can draw your left hip back, and see if you can lift your left foot up off the mat so that your left heel is rooted down into the ground. And then still pulling your fingers down towards the mat. See if you can fold over your left leg, just to your own personal degree, and maybe see if you can bring your hands as far up as they will go. This takes a little bit of balance, so it's okay if you're wobbly. It's okay if you have to use your hands. But breathe. Think about bringing your chest forward. And then set your left foot back down on the mat. Rebend your left knee. Unclasp your hands, reach your arms up towards the ceiling. And then bring your hands to frame your left foot, tuck your right toes underneath, lift your right knee, and step your left foot back to meet your right, and bring it through a flow. So chaturanga, lower to the floor. Inhale, upward facing dog or cobra, and exhale, downward facing dog. And take 5 breaths here. Use this time to reconnect with your breath if you've lost it. And then use your hands, walk your hands back towards your feet until you come into a forward fold. And then once you've reached your forward fold, bend your right knee and reach your left arm up towards the ceiling. So coming into another twist. And then set your left hand back down on the mat. Straighten your right knee, bend your left knee, and reach your right arm up towards the ceiling. And look up towards the ceiling. And then bring your right hand back down to the mat. Bend both knees. And then round your spine, come all the way up to standing. Bringing your head last. And then once you reach standing, roll your shoulders back a few times. And we'll come into our balancing posture. So bring your hands to heart center. Gently press your palms in towards one another. And then come to standing or rooting down through your right foot. So all of your weight is shifted into your right foot. Let your left heel peel up off the mat and bring your left knee out. And you can kickstand here, resting your heel on your right leg, or you can bring your foot to the inside of your calf, or help it along to the inside of your thigh. But wherever you are, you're pressing your leg into your foot and pressing your foot into your leg. And then once you've found your balance here, you can start to grow your branches. Any way that you would like, you can simply reach up. You can bring your palms together. You can come into cactus arms or goalpost arms. Or you can do what we were doing earlier and clasp your fingers together and pull your hands down, shine your heart forward. You can try a couple different things, just find something that works for you. And breathe and pull the crown of your head up towards the ceiling. If you need a little bit more of a challenge, you can look up. Or you can even close your eyes. And then when you're ready, you can bring your hands back to heart center, step your left foot back down, take a couple baby chair poses just to reset everything. And then bring your weight into your left foot. Let your right heel peel up off the mat, bring your right knee out. And you can kickstand here. Or you can bring your right foot to the inside of your left calf, or help it along to the inside of your left thigh. Just avoiding the knee area. And then whenever you would like to, once you found your balance, you can start to grow your branches. However way you would like to. And breathe. And then bring your hands back to heart center. And step your right foot back down on the mat. Take a couple baby chairs. And then bring your feet a little bit wider than hips distance, pointing your toes outward. We're going to come into our Malasana, our yogi squat. So draw your hips back and drop your hips as low as comfortable, as low as they will go. See if you can bring your heels down to the mat, although they don't have to. You can be up on your toes if that's more comfortable. But try to lengthen your spine. And you can use your elbows to press your knees away, but also press your knees into your elbows. And breathe here. You can even rock side to side if that feels good. And then when you're ready, come to sitting all the way down on the mat. And then come to laying down on your backs. Bring your feet right underneath your knees. We're going to come into our bridge pose. So bring your hands to your sides. Palms facing down. And then use your leg muscles to pull your hips up as high as they will go towards the ceiling. You can wiggle your shoulders underneath you and maybe clasp your hands underneath you. Think about pulling your chest in towards your chin. So not just bending from the low back, but from the upper back as much as possible. Don't let your knees fly out too far. Try to keep them about hips distance. And breathe, and then you can unclasp your hands, set your hips back down on the mat. And then let your knees fall to one side, and then the other, coming into some windshield wiper motions. And then bring your knees back to center. We're going to do bridge pose one more time. So you can bring your hands to your sides. Use your leg muscles, press your hips up towards the ceiling. And again, you can wiggle your shoulders underneath you. Clasp your hands together. Pull your hips up towards the ceiling. And then when you're ready, you can slowly lower them down. And then again, make some windshield wiper motions with your knees, letting them fall from one side to the other. And then when you're ready, come back to center. And we'll come into our boat pose. So come up to balancing on your sit bones. Your shins are parallel with the floor. Your hands are about the height of your shins. Lengthen your spine. And then when you're ready, you can lower down into your low boat pose so that you're just hovering up off the mat. And then lift back up to your boat pose. And then lower to a hover. And lift back up. Lower to a hover. And lift back up. We'll do two more. Lower as far as you'll go. And lift back up. Lower. And lift back up. And then across your ankles, you can bring your hands together and just come into a resting pose. Up in seated position. And then come into a seated pose. Bring your the soles of your feet together. And then bring your heels in towards you as much as possible, as much as comfortable. Think about bringing your knees down towards the mat, and you can grab onto your feet. Lengthen your spine and sit up tall. And if you would like to, you can fold forward. You can use your elbows again here to press against your legs, but then use your legs to press against your elbows so there's a little bit of resistance. And then roll back up to seated. Send your right leg out long, keep your left knee bent, and bring your left foot to the inside of your right thigh. Square your shoulders towards your right foot. And sit up nice and tall. Make sure your sit bones have a good connection with the earth. Inhale, reach up. And then exhale as you fold over your right leg. And you can grab anything you can. You can grab your pant leg, maybe your toes or your feet. But using your nice deep exhales to really sink into this pose. And then roll back up to seated. And then switch your legs so that your left leg comes out long. Right foot comes to the inside of your left thigh. Square your shoulders towards your left foot. Sit up nice and tall. Reach your arms up. Inhale. And exhale as you fold over your left leg. And it's okay if this side is different than your other side. We're very rarely perfectly even. And again, use your deep exhales for this pose. And then when you're ready, roll back up to seated. Bring both feet out in front of you and together. And then roll around your spine. Come to roll down all the way onto your backs. And hug your knees in towards your chest. Give yourself a nice tight hug. And then continue hugging your right knee, send your left leg out long, and you can let it drop down onto the mat. Bring your right arm out to a T, and then using your left hand, you can guide your right knee over towards the left for a reclined twist. If you would like to, you can look towards the right. And then bring your right knee back to center. Hug your left knee in. Send your right leg out long. You can set it down on the mat. Bring your left hand out to a T. And then use your right hand to guide your left knee over to the right. If your neck allows, you can look towards the left. And then bring your left knee back up to center. Hug both knees into your chest. And you can bring your hands out to your sides, either down by your hips or out like airplane wings. And then just bring the soles of your feet up towards the ceiling. Coming to legs up the wall. Pull your heels up towards the ceiling. And allow all that fresh blood to flow freely down towards your heart, reversing the effects of gravity. And then you can bend your knees, hug your knees into your chest. Give yourself a tight little hug, squeezing everything possible, squeezing your toes, your facial muscles. Squeeze everything, just in case we miss something. And then relax and release, bringing your legs out long. Your hands can come to your sides, or you can take up as much space as you would like to. And then start to just relax everything. Relax the muscles in your face, and the muscles in your jaw. You can relax the tongue away from the roof of your mouth. You can let your feet flop open. And just check in and see if there's any extra tension in your body. If so, now is a great time to just let it go. Let everything melt away. And just for a few moments, let everything we did soak in. And while you're laying here in a restful state, now might be a good time to think of something that you're grateful for. Maybe that one thing is your body allowing you to do everything you just did. allowing you to breathe. Allowing you to be present. And then when you're ready, you can start to wiggle your fingers and wiggle your toes. Take a big deep breath in. Maybe stretch your arms overhead for a good morning stretch. And then when you're ready, you can roll into the right side of your body using your bicep as a pillow. And send a breath to the back side of your body. And then using your arms, press yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Bring your hands to heart center. Press your palms together in front of your sternum. Thank you for spending this time with me today, even if it is virtual. I appreciate every one of you. The light and love in me honors and acknowledges the light and love in you. Namaste.